now. Good morning. Happy Monday, PSW Staff Collins. Friends, join us for Film Score Monday, where we look at a scene. Academy Award-winning movie, indie movie, a drama, romance, thriller. I take out the music, put in some sound effects, and then you think, what could be used just as great in this scene? So if you're new, please play along. It's a fun game. There's a monthly prize, so would love more participation. But those of you that are submitting are doing excellent work. And we looked at What Lies Beneath last week, which is a little scary, I know, but I try to choose suspenseful movies rather than just horror slasher movies, because it's also harder to score those because the tone of the music will set. We looked at Michelle Pfeiffer's expression last week. That expression could be comical if it had funny music, but with the music, it really, and that's something suspenseful movies kind of, the soundtrack is so reliant on that. Today we'll do nothing like that, and this week we'll do nothing like last week. We looked at the Russians, and we talked about the comparison, compared the Germans to the Russians. Germans, heavy emotion, very emotional. Russians, a little more playful. And to simplify things. Obviously, these are generalizations. Okay, so with today's score, we're going to look at a really fun movie, part of my childhood, part of a lot of people's childhood, the 1985 American film, The Goonies.
Hey, Mike found the map! One-Eyed Willie! My dad told me all about him. See, One-Eyed Willie stole treasure once, and then he got into this cave, and he's been there ever since. Trapped. You guys, just what if this map could lead to One-Eyed Willie's rich stuff? I'm setting booty traps.
You mean booby traps?
That's what I said, booby traps. I want to go home. Don't say that. Goonies never say die.
Goonies is an adventure movie. Funny, though, too. A lot of great lines in it.
Wait a minute, Chunk. I got some naked pictures of your mom. Taking a bath. Want to buy them?
What?
Real cheap.
Great cast, Sean Astin and Corey Feldman, all these 80s teen stars that came out of the 80s, directed by Richard Donner. Donner was a very famous director, did a lot of the Rifleman episodes, a lot of TV, Twilight Zone, Fugitive, those kind of TV shows. But then when The Omen came out in 1976, that put him on a map as a huge director. And so he's directing this. Chris Columbus writes the screenplay. Columbus did, Adventures in Babysitting, put him on the map, but then also did all the Home Alones and stuff. But the story came from Steven Spielberg. So you have Spielberg, Columbus, Richard Donner working on all of this. It's gonna be a good movie. Let's go over there. Let's just, they filmed it in Astoria, different places, even LA. But let's just go from the Hollywood sign up to where they filmed off the coast, and this is actually the last scene of the movie. If it comes out in 85, we've already scored a movie from 1985, Back to the Future, and we talked last week about Alan Silvestri and Robert Zemeckis, and Zemeckis directed Back to the Future, Silvestri scored it, and they were working, so if that's 85, 15 years later or so, they're still working together on What Lies Beneath. This year, 85, Goonies comes out. Dave Grusin's going to score this movie. We'll look at the score in a little bit. Out of Africa comes out, 1985. Epic, huge score by John Barry. We also have Rocky IV coming out. And the plot is that, these kids, they live in the Goondocks. That's why they're called the Goonies, and it's this neighborhood. In Oregon, that's where they filmed a lot of it. And their homes are going to all be torn down for a country club. And so in the attic of one of the boys is, Sean Astin, and his dad, there's a treasure map that they find, and they go on this adventure and trying to get the lost fortune of One-Eyed Willie to get enough money to not have to move, because mostly what they care about is their neighborhood, their home, their families, and so they don't want to have to move. And so this kind of adventure, and there's a pirate ship that we'll see at the end, and as they're on this adventure, the Fratellis, criminals, they're after them too, because they know about this treasure, this kind of gold. So it's this adventure, with all kids. And so the budget's 19 million, makes 125 million, and considered a cult classic. I mean, so it does really well. I loved it, growing up, and it's hard to see if somebody would watch it today as an adult, if it holds up. When you have something sentimental close to you, it's hard to know if that is just important to you or is them as well. Okay, and the music, Dave Grusin, I mentioned. We know Dave Grusin because we scored Milagro Beanfield War. He got the Academy Award for that. But he's also going to be using some Max Steiner influence in this. We'll hear a little bit about it. We know Max Steiner. We scored King Kong, 1933. One of the father of film music, because he was one of the first to come along and make it a film score, as opposed to kind of random bits of music, pre-existing music bits for the cinema. He said, I'm going to make, just like a composer writes a symphony for the orchestra, he's going to use the symphony orchestra to write a film score for the movie. One of the first to do that in the 30s. So they're going to use some music from Adventures of Don Juan. That's Earl Flynn. So the score, Max Steiner's score, Dave Grusin's going to borrow from it in a really charming way. So let's take a look at the scene. This is when they realize they've seen this pirate ship, and they realize all the gold's on that pirate ship, but they don't have access to it because the criminals interrupt them, and they take over, and they kind of block them. And so they realize that their families are there to pick them up because they've been missing for, a day or so. And then we realize that they come back with nothing, and the parents are like, well, we still love you. But one of them brings back a bag of little jewels, of diamonds that the criminals forgot to confiscate. And so because of that, they're going to have enough money to stay in the neighborhood. And so they kind of reflect looking at this beautiful ocean. This is in Sonoma County up north, Gold Rock State Beach. And they're kind of, having this exhausting adventure. They realize they're going to be able to stay there. And because of this little explosion, the pirate ship's able to sail out. And so there's this beautiful scene of this pirate ship. So why don't we take a look at the scene with the beautiful score, Dave Grusin's score.
Thanks.
So I realize there's two moods here. There's a very reflective, magical, majestic sounding. And then it triumphs right a little bit later when they all kind of say yay. Don't worry about hitting that point. That's okay if we don't have two different moods in it. If you do send it to me, I'll try to cut it to make the kind of hit point of them saying yay. But let's not worry about that. I just want you to get the tone of the scene first. And so let's take a look at the scene without any music. You see how much music adds to it? It makes it such a beautiful scene, as opposed to what we just saw of just, okay, stand there and look really, surprised and you know, the director telling them. Again, we always try to think without the score. It's just, you know, action and movements and facial expressions, and kind of looks silly without music. And so it has to have music. So find something majestic, like something like Hook. You guys did that. We did that a few weeks ago. Hook was, you guys did a great job. Magical, majestic sounding, you know, a big, you know, magical scene. This is not What Lies Beneath. This isn't scary. This is not Little Princess. Even though Little Princess was kind of vibrant, that was more dance-like. This isn't dance. This should be very just like the end, right before, you know, the last breath of their big adventure and all of the magical, you know, things that happen to them along this road. So something that's, you know, triumphant, you know, sounding, and full of hope and all of these things. So give me some ideas. And, you know, this is a beautiful scene, beautiful coast right up in Northern California. And, you know, we're gonna have a great week. We're gonna look at some music. We're going to revisit some composers that were really famous in the 50s and have kind of an easy listening, easy breezy kind of week. Okay, so looking forward to that. Have a great rest of the day, and see you tomorrow. Bye.